to the Paranorm Girl podcast. I am your host, Kristen. The second annual Wild West Paracon is taking place in Tombstone, April 26th through the 28th. Anyone planning to attend can look forward to a paranormally packed weekend full of VIP packages, investigations, world-renowned speakers, workshops, and vendors like yours truly. Plus, it's in historic and infamously haunted Tombstone, Arizona. I mean, come on. Now, I know how the paranormal can bring folks together, so I am really hoping to meet some listeners and fellow pods that I have met through the show and also make lots of new friends while there. If you happen to be planning to attend, be sure you stop by the Paranorm Girl Pod booth and say howdy. Get you a PGP hat while you're at it. Have a seat at my Storytime booth and record your scary, true story to be featured on the show. Gonna be wild and fun, and I am just super excited for this one, y'all. May 4th, Beer, Booze, and Boogeymen will be airing our 4th episode. This one is going to be a special one for some folks. We will be discussing communications with the other side. Submit your personal experience communicating with a departed loved one or messages that you have received from your babies who have crossed the Rainbow Bridge. The subject of afterlife communication can be a hard one for some, but it can also be very reaffirming to know that you are not alone in these experiences. Trust that you are not. You would be shocked to know just how many others have had these communications. And oftentimes, these experiences, in and of themselves, can give us an overwhelming feeling of comfort, connection, significance. I really think it's an important subject and discussion to have. So I do hope my listeners consider joining us for the 4th on the 4th. You can send your written or recorded accounts to Go Stop Beer or call in during the show at 208-717-1611. That is all I have for announcements today. Let's get to our guest. On November 17th, 2005, a seasoned hiker on Silverstar Mountain in the Gifford Pinchot National Forest saw something a bit unusual on a snowy peak. Unusual enough to snap off a few photos. These images have by now been seen around the world and capture what appears to be a very large, dark, bipedal figure. What many consider to be that of a Sasquatch. You can watch my guest story featured on Season 1, Episode 5 of Finding Bigfoot. Please enjoy my conversation with Randee Chase.
Thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it.
It was kismet. We met in the hot dog line at Squatch Fest.
Yep, right.
And like I was telling you before we started recording, it was that Hawaiian shirt, man. Bigfoot Hawaiian shirt, and I think were there pizza slices on there as well?
No, I think he's walking with martinis, I think.
Mar Martinis. It's a fabulous, fabulous shirt. Um,
I could have worn it, but I didn't think about
oh,
it.
no, just having you is more than enough. I'm very, very excited to kind of talk about your background a little bit and to talk about those photos that you took on Silverstar Mountain. I am well aware of them. I'm sure most people listening today are going to, yes, yes, thank you for that. It's a well-known image. And we're going to get into it. I have a bunch of questions for you, but to start us off, would you mind just giving us a little breakdown? Tell us about yourself. Give us a little intro.
um, I've been ever since I was a kid. I've walked around in the woods, been in the woods all my life. Love it, love the woods. There's something about the magic of the woods, being out there and
Yeah.
peaceful, calming. I'm a hiker. I just love hiking, camping. Most time I camp by myself because most people don't want to go where I go. Um, I was in the Air Force for 16 and a half years, still hiking wherever I could around the world. And then when I got out, I became electrician, worked for the IBW, 48 Portland, Oregon, and now I'm retired, enjoying the life and times of going out with Bigfoot and meeting great people like you,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's about it.
Okay. Well, how why do you say most people don't want to go where you go, or do you end up in a lot of remote areas, some hard to hike places in general?
Yeah, I'm back in the day. Now I still go out. Just seems like nobody wants to go out where I go. I ask sometimes to go, and then oh, I'm busy, or people got their own lives going on. And sometimes
Mhm.
I just go and right off the get up in the morning or in the middle of the afternoon, I go, "Oh, I got to go hiking," and I just go.
Percentage wise, how much of your life are you spending in the woods, Randy?
Well, probably about I'm going to say 80% lately,
Whoa,
but it used to be 90%.
whoa, that was unexpected. I was gonna be
well,
like,
I
even 10% is huge for, the average person, but you're not the average hiker.
Well,
Um,
I've hiked when I lived in down in Vancouver, Washington. I've hiked both sides of the Oregon and Washington Gorge, every single trail.
wow.
Um, I've my favorite places are Indian Heaven and Gifford, of course. And I've
Mhm.
started to investigate the Dark Divide, which I love. It's so remote.
Ooh, wait a second. Wait a second. Is that's where, Pyle was, right? When he wrote that book, Robert Pyle?
I think so. I think you're right.
Where Bigfoot walks. I wanna say that that was where he was. I don't know. I'll have to go back and re-edit if, if that's incorrect, but I'm pretty yeah, I've got that book. Whoa. So, okay, so you make it out into Gifford Pinchot National Forest quite a bit. You know what I was really shocked, when I was watching your episode on finding Bigfoot, and they were saying it's one of the oldest national forests in the country, and it is also 1.5 million acres of protected forest land. I don't know why that surprised me, but it's huge.
Yep.
So in being surprised by that, I'm actually not surprised that a lot of folks have Sasquatch encounters and sightings and find footprints out in this area. It's so vast and so remote, which is exactly where you
Exactly.
were. Yeah. Whoa.
Exactly. That's why I like it out there. It is
Yeah.
getting more and more people out there because of more population coming in, so people are coming farther and farther out. But they're also
Mhm.
closing a lot of roads and stuff, and the access and landslides and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, in all of this, in the 80% of the time that you spend out in the woods, is a lot of that with kind of a focus or an eye out for Bigfoot?
No, I don't go out there to look for Bigfoot. I just go out and enjoy. But I'm all now that I spent time with um, the Bigfoot community and learned things like from Cliff and Bobo and Derek and all the other people. I could mention a bunch of people, but I'm learning to hear things, and now I know what they are. I'm
Mhm.
also watching constantly while I'm out there, but I'm relaxing. I like to just sit back and watch the trees move and watch nature move around me, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I gotta get back out there. I grew up in Montana and in Glenoma, Washington. I wasn't gonna say it because most people don't know where that is, but it's just out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, I grew up in the woods, and there is something you got to get back to nature when you can. You don't realize how much of a
Mhm.
difference it makes until you can get out there in the peace and quiet. Well,
Exactly.
how long, have you actually, like, been interested or been involved in the Bigfoot world?
Okay, so the first time I had an encounter was back in 1970. Just a young kid then at the time, and we were heading to my grandmother's house in Elk City, Idaho. And but we stopped off at the time. I think it was my uncle or aunt's house in Kashmir, Washington, which is by between Leavenworth and Wenatchee.
Mhm.
And my brother and I got up in the morning. I go, "Hey, Russ, let's go up in the woods and goof around before we have to leave." And so we went up there, and the east side is different than the west side. It's more open and stuff. And we were on
Mhm.
this ridge, and something caught my eye, and I go, "Hey, Russ, what's that over there?" And he goes, "I don't know what that is. This big, tall creature. It wasn't the color of a black bear, but it was more dusty brown color, and it was wandering around on it, walking around, shaking. It was really tall, and we didn't know what it was. I go, "Hey, let's go check it out." Now we had to go down into this canyon and come back up to get to that area. Well, when we went down and we came back up, and all we could this nasty smell just reeked so bad. We didn't think about looking for tracks. You don't think about that as kids. You're just trying to figure out where to go. What was that?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
then when we got to Idaho, where my grandma was, the first thing out of her mouth was, "You saw Sasquatch." And then she started telling us all these stories about miners and loggers in that area of the things that happened. I mean, with this, it was awesome. And then after that,
Oh,
I never thought about any of this stuff until later.
right. How did she say sorry, I was surprised there for a second, cough guard. Did she say you saw Sasquatch because you had told her, like, what had happened, or she smelled it on
No,
you?
she what we told her, well, how it acted and what we saw, that's the first thing out of her mouth was, "You saw Sasquatch." It wasn't Bigfoot, it was Sasquatch.
Oh, okay,
The word
okay.
Bigfoot wasn't out then, I don't think. Of course, I was a kid and I wouldn't know. So
Whoa. Well, how far away was that? Like, could you see features on it?
you could see the head and the whole body walking around. I'm gonna
Mhm.
say probably 100 yards away because we had to go down
Whoa.
and dip and come back up. And you got it was just it happened so much, and I always have this in my mind all the time now. I mean, ever my whole life I've thought about that, but it, nothing really happened until this last thing with I wasn't really involved in it until around this whole incident about the Silverstar sighting.
Okay. Okay. So it was that initial sighting, and then since then, it was you didn't see or experience anything up until Silver Star.
I wouldn't say it that way. I had, like I said before, don't, I didn't know what to look for. I didn't
Hmm.
know if I was hearing or seeing things back in all the time from that point, back in from 1970 on towards now. But
Hmm.
now, like I said, now that I know, I can hear things like tree knocking. Okay, now I gotta hear what if it goes again. Is that? And then I try to investigate what's going on or something like that, or movement in the woods. Something that's out there and it's not the same as regular like deer. You can tell a deer or elk or something like that. But nah, this it's different with Sasquatch.
Yeah. Yeah. Just to go back just for a second here, would you describe what that awful smell was? What did it
Huh.
smell
It,
like?
it was so nasty. I'm gonna say I'm gonna say it was a cross between a skunk and horse crap. The most ungodly smell you could think of. You don't forget that. It's like when you hear one scream. Um, you don't forget that. It sends shivers up your spine. You just, you don't forget these things. They haunt you for
Yeah.
the rest of your life.
Oh, yeah, it's something that I've been thinking about, has to do with the smell, because, I was at the North American Bigfoot Center not too long ago, and they have Cliff has that little, like, squeezy bottle display there with the pheromone
Hmm.
chips in it, and,
Hmm.
uh, and gave those a little sniff, and it just about knocked me on my butt. It was atrocious, atrocious.
Yeah,
That
it's
would be
terrible.
a stink that you wouldn't soon forget, and, personally, I don't think that that belongs in the forest, like, maybe you smell a skunk, maybe you smell something dead, those are things that might be found out in the natural world, but what I smelled was whoa, yeah, just
Yeah,
awful, awful.
it's way different. It's like a
Mhm.
skunk smell, you can tell that. And like you said, dead bodies, yeah, you can tell what those are. But
Yeah.
that smell, it's I don't know, well, they don't bathe probably, or who knows, but being out in the dusty area where I was at that time, it's drier on that side. Of course, you're over in that area, it's drier.
Mhm. Yeah. So since then, in that span of time, like I know you said, you didn't quite know what to look for, but you had this experience. Did this kind of like launch a kind of a personal interest in investigating and joining up with other groups or going out with anybody? Like did it put you back in the forest at any time to do some boots on the ground work, like some actual Sasquatch investigation or research?
Excuse me. You mean after Silver Star?
After the original one, just between that span of time from the '70s up till early 2000s. Yeah.
No, I never thought about it. I never anything like that. I mean, I guess if when we talk, you'd hear something about it and you talk, and then I would talk to people about that incident, and that's about
Mhm.
it. But I
Mhm.
never I never had any incidents that I know of. I maybe did, but I never thought of it that way.
Yeah. So then, Silver Star must have been quite the shock to you. That just
Oh
kinda
yeah,
yeah.
it really shocked me, and then to find out more and more, and like I said, and we used to have in Portland, Guy Edwards used to have this meetings at Portland every month, and we'd all go there and meet people and talk about stuff, their what happened with them, and guest speakers and stuff, and they talk about it, and then you start learning more. Like I said, knocking, what to look for, just the different sounds in the woods, that whooping. I never heard about
Mhm.
that, and now I know, and I hear them out there, and
Yeah.
throwing rocks, just things like that. It's just crazy.
Yeah. It's easy to talk about in theory for a lot of folks, but actually being out there and them and experiencing these signs, this evidence, having rocks thrown at your head, that would be, Scooby Doo legs out of the forest, definitely.
Yeah, that happened to me. That happened to me down in the gorge on the Washington side. I was going up into one of my favorite areas, and I had found two left footprints, probably about 17 to 18 inches long. I couldn't find the right footprints because it was solid rock, and then eventually went right into rock. And about 45 minutes later, the higher I got up, I got up there, and all of a sudden this rock landed the size of a microwave, you know, landed 20 feet from me. And I go, whoa, what's that? And so I just stopped and I looked around. There were no cliffs. There were nothing like it was just kind of little rolly hills. And I'm just looking around, anything. And I go, it just telling me to get out of the area. And so I
Whoa.
basically got out of the area. I just didn't want anything to do with it. I don't want it. I didn't want to I finished what I was doing, but I got out of that area fast.
Yeah, you took the hint. You took the warning.
Yep.
Whoa.
I don't think they would hurt you. Like I said, I camp out by myself. I've had incidents that happen out there,
Mhm.
and they just, I think they just warn you to get out of their area. So,
Mhm. Yeah, their
oops.
territory, man. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, let's go ahead and start talking about Silver Star. So I like I said, I have a bunch of questions for you. I really want to kind of drill in and just get a full wide view of this situation for my audience, just to learn
Okay.
about it and yeah, just the details about it. So to start out, would you explain to my audience like how remote the actual location where you snapped the photos was? Like, is it publicly generally accessible to like the regular hiker? Is it where only experts should go? Like, how remote is this?
Oh, anybody can hike this. I mean, I've taken kids up there.
Mhm.
Um, but I'd like to say one thing. Most people, when they think about where I went, how I got up there, they all say from Grouse Point, but that's not where I came up from. I came up from the north part and took Ed's Trail. You come out of Sunset Falls up to Copper Creek and up to the Ed's Trail there, and that's the north side. The other side be the southwest side from Grouse Point. So I wandered up there, and at this time, I knew I'd be hitting snow, but I didn't think I was going to hit that much snow. And you never
Mhm.
know. Um, the way I go, that's a little rougher than the other way. It's both ways are steep, and it's not the. Um, it's friendly to go up there. People can go up there
Mhm.
if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, yeah. But it's a hike.
Yeah, and
Okay.
yeah, it is a hike. It's not
Mhm.
I think it's like my way's like 4 miles to get there,
Yikes.
and the other way's 6 miles or 6.3 miles round trip. I can't remember. Like I said, some of the stuff's not I haven't done it for a while.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, 4 and 6-ish miles, that sounds like beyond the average person's like, they have to specifically be out there wanting to do do that hike. Like, it's not just a person of the public just walking in off the street kinda
Right.
trek. Yeah.
Yeah, and that this hike, I've loved the hike. I love that hike. It's like you're in Switzerland or something like that. It's just beautiful territory. And once you get up there, you can see, I mean, it's wide open.
Mhm.
It's fantastic. I've had so many great things up there.
Yeah, I've seen the pictures of the area. It's absolutely just breathtaking. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, what were you doing specifically, going up there that day? Like, what was your point in being there in the first place?
I wanted to get to the top, the top of the mountain. The mountain is a saddle mountain, and I always hike to the north side of the peak. And I always just go up there and sit, look around, enjoy my time up there, and then I turn around and go back.
Mhm.
Unless my mind goes, oh, hey, I go check that out. Like one time I was hiking up and I go, oh, there's Sturgeon Rock. I want to go check that out. I haven't done that for a while. And I'll go hike over there and see if anything's changed because, nothing stays the same.
Yeah. Well, how about, why don't you walk us through the actual event from start to
Okay.
finish? Like, go ahead and walk my audience through it.
All right. So, like I said, I started Edge Trail. I'm prepared with the hike up there. I go up Edge Trail. And that's you start on the north side and it goes on the northeast side of the ridge. And you hike up that. And I was hiking along, and then there's an arch you can get to, but I couldn't get to that part because the snow was too deep. So went back about a couple, probably 10 yards, 20 yards. And then I just started zigzagging up to the top and got up there and then got onto the other side of the trail where the road is. Okay, it's a non-used road. They don't let cars go up there anymore. And then I wandered up there, and like I said, I always come up into the what I did was I went up into the middle of the saddle, and then I got to the saddle, and then I started hiking up to the north part, and probably about 10, 20 yards up from the saddle, my whole body just all my hairs just I just electrified. I mean, it's just like it's like and I go and I'm thinking to myself, is that a cougar? Is there a bear around here? Or something's here. I can feel it in my bones.
Mhm.
It just scared the crap out of me. I mean, it's just like and so then I got to the top, and I always when I get up there, I always do the same thing. I look at Mount St. Helens. I turned and looked at Mount Rainier, Mount Adams, and came around to Mount Hood. And as soon as I looked at Mount Hood, I saw this black rock. It looked like a black rock, and I go, "What is that?" So I put my backpack down and I grabbed out my camera and I turned around, I took a picture of it, and then as soon as I took that picture, it stood up. I go, whoa! And I took another picture, and then I took a picture of the Columbia River, and then I came back and I took another picture, and it walked down. At that time, it was walking down towards the south, away from me. That was the last picture. If I would have known what I would know now,
Mhm.
I would have took more pictures. I didn't think about it.
Whoa. What what was there what was the impetus to take the picture that first picture? Like,
Well,
it looked like a rock, but it must there must have been something unusual.
yeah, I wanted to take it so I could. I don't know. I took it because it was unusual to me,
Mhm.
and I don't know. I just took the picture. I, that's all I can say. I just took the picture.
Well, and you had just felt that, like, that electricity, like, you were kinda already kinda on edge or on alert too when that happened.
Uh, yeah, I don't know. Just and later, after, like I said, the electricity thing, or my whole body electrified or whatever, I found
Mhm.
out through the Bigfoot community or whatever that they send out signals like bats to ward you off. And I'm just wondering if that wasn't it,
I've
that made me do that.
Yeah, I've heard that. Oh, infrasound. Infrasound.
Yes. And I didn't
Yeah.
know about, you don't think about that and is it the same as cougars, or your
Mhm.
sense to do this? I mean, your body senses these things, and that's how we're communicating with other people and animals. I don't know.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I've heard a bunch of stories that include that, and people don't think about it until afterwards, like tying the 2 things together, the feeling, like, it does, and it feels like, yeah, all of your hair stands up, you're suddenly afraid or just very alert, and you don't know why, and then this thing happens, and they don't really, like, connect the dots until after the fact. What it kinda reminds me of, like, I feel like, that would be a natural reaction or a natural response. Like, our bodies are very good antennas with stuff like that, like, and we don't really understand. But I mean, there's like scientific studies that have proven like you can sense when a person is standing right behind you. If you do, even if you don't
Yep.
hear it, you don't see it, nothing, you can still sense it. You can sense the presence, and that's just it's a bodily reaction. Like, it's just you're an antenna, man. So yeah, you picked it up. That is crazy. Well, let's talk about the figure here for a second. So after it stood up, of course, and started moving away, what did the figure like trying to form the question here? Did it occur to you there at that point? Did Bigfoot enter your mind at all as a thought?
Nope. I never
Yeah.
thought anything about it at all. It happened so quick and so fast. I mean, that it didn't think about anything about that. I did.
Mhm.
Now that it's all happened, I wish I would have went down there and looked at it. But at the time, I'm standing, and I'm already up in the snow's up to my legs, up my knees, maybe above the knees,
Yeah.
and I'm already getting colder, and I have the 2 hour hike back to my car. So I'm thinking, okay, I've done what I wanted to do, and the winds were strong. They're really strong, even cold blue day. I just decided I better just get back, and like I said, I kick myself now over all these years.
Mhm.
I should have went down there. Things could have changed. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. So did it occur to you to run up there and follow it at that point, or just after the fact you thought back and was like, "Ugh, gosh, I should have gone."
Yeah, exactly. The
Yeah.
latter, what you said, because I didn't think about going looking at it. I just wanted to get back, walk back before it got too late up there. This is in November, so the sun doesn't stay up very long.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's not too surprising, like you said. Like, you didn't Bigfoot was not a thought in your brain at that point. Just a figure, just a figure up there. Like, who would have like
Right,
immediately, oh, I'm a detective. I'm gonna go up and check out and look for footprints if you didn't know.
right.
Well, what
And
do you
it's not like you can just go like half a block and you're back to your car and
right.
get on a regular road. I have to. If anybody that's driven up there knows that that road is terrible. So just to get back and hope, there's all these things go through in your mind and stuff. So,
Mhm.
and
Well,
like I
now
said, I didn't know it was Bigfoot at the time until later.
yeah, yeah. Well, now thinking back on that moment, seeing that figure, was there any, like, features of the figure that you pull out in your brain, you're like, "Oh, that is kinda weird. It's not really what I would expect on a human," like, that you
Yeah,
saw with your eyes?
I looked and that was not a human at all. That because it was
Yeah.
solid black and it was big. It wasn't a little creature. I mean, it wasn't like a little. It wasn't a bear for sure because even though
Mm-mm.
it's black, it just did. I mean, if a bear, I wouldn't think we'd be able to. And I'm nobody, but I wouldn't think it'd be able to walk like that, like it was walking. It kind of walked downhill. Where a bear, to me, you got four legs, and even though they stand up, the four legs would be kind of wandering down, or maybe even would have if it was a bear. Maybe it would have tried to walk up towards me. I don't know.
I mean, I think it's pretty clear that it's not a bear. It is just not. The Finding Bigfoot episode is does a really good job. Like they zoom in on on the pics, and you can clearly see it's a bipedal figure. It's got human-esque features to it, but there's something else. And you're absolutely right. It's enormous, and you can tell that from the photos. And they did the comparison with Bobo. This thing was enormous. It was
Yeah,
beyond.
I also have Daniel Perez and I went up there. He wanted to see where it's all at and stuff like that, and we went up there. And he took a picture of me with my camera. Who now he has my camera. Um, he took a picture of me on that same thing, and I think that if you look on my Facebook page, it's my I don't know what's called the one screen that's not your regular screen, but the background screen,
Mhm.
and you can see me standing out there. He had took me picture of me standing out there, and I look like a little. I mean, I look small, and you can see my clothes and stuff. You can see that that's a human. This is
Mhm.
different.
Mhm.
Like I said, it's just when it happened, it happened so fast, you just don't think. But I'm just glad I took pictures. That's all I can
Yeah.
say.
Yeah. Well, how long did the entire encounter last?
I wouldn't say more than a minute or two.
Yeah. How far away was it from where you were standing?
I don't know. I know that Cliff took measurements and stuff. I couldn't tell you.
Okay. I'll have to go back and do that. I'll throw it in the outro for people. Yeah, I can't remember either.
I don't want to throw some number out and then find out it's not the right number, but I do know that Cliff took measurements and stuff like that, and he figured it
Yeah.
was I think between 6 and 8 feet tall. But if you
Whoa.
look at it, it's on the other side of the ridge. It could be
Mhm.
standing on a log or a rock, or it could be straight down the ground. If I'm already standing in snow up to my knees, this thing's way heavier than I am. It's
Yeah.
wherever, and it could be a dip down there. It's not flat ground over there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, even so, if it was standing on something, whatever, it's clear to me the massiveness of it.
Yeah,
It's got some bulk to it. Um well, as to your knowledge, what kind of analysis has been done on these pics?
analysis,
Yeah, like official
research.
analysis.
Well, I don't know. There were so many people coming out as soon as it came out. Like the guy from the BFRO, I never told you that part. I guess John's Challenger. Um, when I found, should I start talking about that part or no?
Sure. Yeah, yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. I saw something on the BFRO site. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, what happened was this on Thanksgiving. We're having a Thanksgiving party at this my son's house. He was sharing with another person, and I said, "Hey, you want to see the pictures of my hike up to Silverstar?" And I was doing that, and then somebody goes, "Hey, what is that? And I go, I don't know. I just took pictures of that. And my son got on there and he started monkeying around with it. And I didn't know how to do any of this stuff, blowing up the picture and stuff. And
Mhm.
the three other people or four other people that were there watching him do that, they go, wow, that that's huge. What is that? And I go, I don't know. And then somebody said that might be Bigfoot. And I go, are you kidding me? And so then I called. I when I got home, I started getting hold of like the news people, like Channel Two
Mhm.
News, Channel Four, or Channel. I can't remember now. And nobody was interested except one channel. And then they wanted to do an interview, and then it came up that they didn't want to do an interview because nobody would be interested in it. And so I also sent a letter to. I saw the BFRO because I looked up Bigfoot, and that came up. And so I text them or whatever it was back in the day. I said, hey, I got some pictures you guys might be interested in. And it wasn't but an hour later or less, John Challenger contacted me and asked if he could do an interview with me. And I
Mhm.
said, sure. And being I don't know this person or something like that. So um, I took my son and we met him at, I think it was a place called Billigan's in Salmon Creek. And we went in there and we met him at the front door. And I go, well, hey, here's the pictures. He goes, oh, let's go inside. And then I show him the pictures. And he goes, oh, wait a minute. And he says, those are like six-figure pictures. And I go, are you kidding me? And then he goes, no, put those away. And then somebody started talking about it. And then he did the interview and stuff like that.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. And from that, the ball just started rolling, and it was amazing. I mean, and I appreciate everybody just talk to me about it because it's nice talking about it. I love talking about Bigfoot now and
Mhm.
everything. And yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
about it. I don't know.
Well, it seems like it's, yeah, it's a life, trajectory kinda changing, event, and it's just so funny to me because, at the start, at that moment, you had no idea. You just weren't even it just didn't even occur to you, and then, not too long after, like, somebody else had to tell you, that looks like Bigfoot, right?"
Right. Yeah.
Like,
And now that I have the pictures and I'm looking at it and I got the one and I'm going, yeah, that's huge.
yeah.
Sorry.
Wow. Wow. No, no, I thank you, thank you. Um, I think, the only I had another question, and I don't mean this in any way, I'm just curious because people can be a little especially when it comes to Bigfoot news, Bigfoot events.
Hmm.
Sometimes, people like to come out of the woodwork when they really shouldn't because they wanna be a part of it. Has anybody ever since that day tried to come out and either say that they were involved, say that they were just out there in a Bigfoot suit just trying to hoax a passerby, anything like that?
No, I remember that somebody said that, and I forgot the guy's name. And you get all these crazy things coming out, but the guy
Mhm.
said that, oh, that's the cutout picture that was stolen out of somebody's house or yard. I forgot that guy's. I really, it's what was back in that at that time, and had
What?
stuck it up there. Now, just think about that. If it was a cutout, how did it move down the hill?
Exactly. You know what
But
I
I
feel like?
forget. Go ahead.
Oh, I just feel like a lot of people, um, they they haven't seen all of the pictures because there's no explaining it away as a cutout or as a rock. There's just no way. It doesn't make any
Right,
sense.
right. And also, the biggest thing I got about if you go back and look up Silverstar and all the comments about the picture, they go, well, why don't you zoom in on it? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Why don't you go get the pictures of the footprints and stuff? I
Mm,
go, okay, first of all, my camera was a Sony 3.2 megapixels. So I had that zoomed out as far as I possibly could to get that picture.
mhm.
And actually, what I just took to snap the pictures because like I said, it happened so fast.
Yeah. Yeah. These are the details of an experience like this that those skeptical of what people are running into out there, they don't take the time to learn. They don't take the time to listen to these kinds of details. These details are what make it very intriguing to me. And so I think that's like why I kind of wanted to really dig down for my audience to really understand, like, this was a really quick encounter. You had no idea what you got on your camera. God, you just wanted to get home. Like, it out of these are the details that make it so compelling to me.
Yeah. Hey,
So
if anybody wants to go up there, I'll take them during November or whenever, and they'll see the difference. I took Cliff Barackman up there, Tyler Bounds, and Matt Pruitt. I think that's his
mhm.
name, Matt Pruitt. We were up there checking it out, and that's when we were coming back down, it was the nighttime and the blood moon was out, and that was totally awesome. So, like I
Ooh.
said, I will take people up there or whatever, but they got to be able to be in shape to go up into that area. It's not your day flat walk. It's not for flatlanders. My
Mhm.
old friend used to call me the flatlander, and then when he started hiking with me, and I took him to Silverstar, he changed his mind. My friend uh, Ted Spurborough, he was my hiking buddy for years.
Mhm. Yeah, the,
Sorry, I
being
got off on that.
No, I think that's so cool. I didn't know you were gonna say that. Well, we'll give people an option to contact you in a minute if they wanna take you up on your offer. That would be so cool. Um,
Hmm.
alright. Well, let's go ahead and get to our final segment. Before we do that, though, I just wanna ask you if there's anything that you want people to understand about this experience. What is that? What do you want people to walk away from it with?
Well, all I can say is they're out there.
Mhm.
They're awesome, and I kind of hope that I can see one again. I mean, also this. I think that certain people are meant to see them and see things, or that like in their spirit or something. I don't know. It just seems like
Mm,
I have so many encounters, and I could tell you more encounters since, like I said, I've learned about stuff,
mhm,
and these incidents are becoming. The more I go out there, the more it seems like they're there, and
mhm.
I want to credit people like Cliff Rockman and Bobo and those guys for opening my eyes. It's just amazing. And Daniel Perez.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Leading the charge for the rest of us, laying that foundation and, the education about it. Um, yeah, because most people are gonna go on just not refusing to be educated about it, not really, drilling down and listening what's actually going on, so they won't learn any further. So thanks to people like Cliff and Daniel and just everybody
Yeah.
that's in the field
And
today.
Cliff's museum in Boring,
Mhm.
Oregon. That
Mhm.
he's doing it right. He's doing it right.
Isn't it fabulous? Oh, I
Yeah.
I I was not expecting it to be like that, but it's like it's so cool. It's the real deal, and it's just so much information. I was really impressed. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I
Can't
just
wait to get back there.
Yeah, I'd like to go there too. He's invited me to come down there sometimes, and it's I everything. There's always something new.
Mhm.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Well, all right. Let's do our final segment and then we will let
Okay.
people know where to go online and then we'll close it out here. So, we're going to do final questions, final thoughts. First question that I have for you. And I think you kind of answered this earlier or if you have another thought about it, something else,
Mhm.
feel free to say or say something new, but the question is there anything different that you look back and you wish you would have thought to do in that moment?
Well, I wish I would have took the time to go down. If I, like I said, if I knew that was Bigfoot,
Mhm.
I would have ran down. I would have got, well, not ran, but I would have walked down there and looked at stuff like, you know, took pictures of the Bigfoot tracks,
Mhm.
all these things. I mean, you look at the picture, and I'm looking at it, and you can see like could be tracks down there in that one area, but like I said, I'm just taking a picture. Yeah, I wish I would have went down there. That's
Yeah.
what I kick myself. Then I not
Okay.
all the skeptics would not be there probably. Of course, like everybody's saying, they won't believe until they have a body, and I don't want to see that happen.
Me either. Yeah. I'm the more I learn about Bigfoot, the more I realize that would be, possibly the worst thing that could
Yeah,
happen, actually.
yeah. They're living creatures, and they just trying to do their thing. Sorry.
All right. Next question. You said on your episode of Finding Bigfoot that you didn't quite know what you saw that day. A lot of time has passed since that episode aired. Have your thoughts and opinions solidified?
Yeah, that changed. That's a Bigfoot, and now I know it's a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Um, um, I did say this also when I got done. Well, like I said, I looked at the BFRO thing, and I looked at in like 1970 something. There was people in that area, and they saw a black thing. And here's another thing I looked up yesterday to check out some stuff. In May 17th of 2020, this guy and his girlfriend were from Portland, went up there hiking, and this is a reported incident on the BFRO. They had vocal sounds, and they mentioned my picture, that they were in the same area, and it kind of makes my picture even better because now there's people hearing vocalization there.
Yeah. To have
Did I
that kind of
answer your question?
yeah, yes, you did. Um, well, just to have that confirmation, corroborating, evidence, corroborating sightings and,
Right.
people hearing vocalizations in the area, that certainly, does not hurt the case of the photos. You know what I discovered recently? It just never occurred to me. It's located in Skamania County, this
Mm-hmm.
area. I
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. And,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, and people listening are gonna know why that's kind of a big deal, like, Skamania County is famous for Bigfoot, yeah.
it's hot for Bigfoot. That they have a newscaster was doing an interview or something like that down there on by Stevenson, and this lady had her car broke down, and she had an incident with a Bigfoot there. If I remember
Mm,
right, it's been a while.
mhm,
And there's
mhm,
all these other incidents in there. Yeah, you just go there, and that it's all over there in Skamania County. Of course, I think that what do they call it? The Bigfoot Highway. I mean, it's
mhm,
deep forest back there. Well, we already talked
yeah.
about that.
That's it's okay, I like to hear it. Alright, so final question for you, and, I'm sure you've been asked a million zillion times, but, I'm always just curious to hear, people's opinion on it. Aside from what you said earlier, it's a wild animal. What do you think Bigfoot is?
I don't know. It's just like, could it be? Okay, now we already know it's all around the world, but they name it
Mm,
different things. Could it be the great primate of North America? Yeah. I mean, all the continents were connected at one time, supposedly.
mhm,
Um, yeah, I just think it's a primate, or it's intelligent, that's for sure. I mean, it's going to tell you to warn you to get out of there, and they got communications by tree knocking, vocalizations, footprints are a big thing. Look at all the things that they got casts galore,
yeah,
and they're not all just. The thing also is like when they ask, or hey, it's not big enough. I mean, you got to remember they're little Bigfoots, and they
yeah,
grow up. They're
mhm,
not like humans. We're not all the same size, no matter what. All over the world, we're different heights and stuff and weights. Yeah, so Bigfoot could be different heights. It doesn't have to be super tall, and you know, maybe a couple are like only going to grow to be like 6 feet tall or 5 feet tall. But maybe they
Mhm.
live for a long time. That's why you don't see the bones anywhere. That's another big thing. Well, why aren't
Yeah.
there any bones or anything? I go, how many times have you gone out in the woods and you found a porcupine bone?
In
It,
any
may,
animal bone, any wild animal bone, yeah.
right. You might find a couple, like even elk. There's thousands and thousands of elk out there, and you
Mhm,
rarely see any elk
mhm,
bodies. I mean, nature takes care of itself. They got people out there clean. I mean, the animals are cleaning the forest all the time. That's how they survive.
mhm,
Okay, so
yeah. Well, and just on that, like, being an animal, being a primate, the primate of North America, um, because we have not gotten a type specimen, a body, anything like that to study, like, at this point, we don't know. There doesn't have to be anything magical about it. It could just literally be a feature of this undiscovered animals protection, like system, part of their makeup,
Mhm.
like with the infrasound,
Yeah,
like them being able to kind of just camouflage themselves like crazy in the woods. You can be staring right
exactly.
at one and not see it. So I think there's maybe some features about it that we just don't know. Like some animals on this earth have some crazy cool things that they can do that we didn't know about until we discovered them. So,
And with all
yeah.
the investigation, it's getting better with the technology and all that stuff. Yeah,
Mhm.
we're gonna
Mhm.
eventually somebody's gonna get everything they want.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. All right, Randy. Where would you like to send folks online to learn more? And where would you like to send them to follow you if you have any social medias?
I don't have any social media. Now,
Oh.
I asked this, should I make a podcast? I don't know even how to do that. I don't know how to even start that. I don't have anything like that. I think Facebook's the only thing I got. That'd be the only thing. I don't know if that's the way I should do it. Am I gonna get flooded with? I don't know. I
Well,
don't even know how
we don't
to.
have to do that.
I
I
don't even
can
know
certainly
how I can start that.
that's okay. Hey, you ever want to start a podcast? I'll help you out. You talk to me.
Okay.
I think that would be
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah,
Well, people have been
you got a
saying
lot
I
of good
should
stuff to
write a
share.
book too.
Ooh.
So,
Yes.
but again,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how I do that with all my time being out in the woods.
Well, find you a nice sunny spot on a log. Go old school. Pen, paper, just write it out.
Yeah,
I think that would be
exactly.
fabulous. Whatever you do is gonna be worth it and fabulous. Yes, but if you could find the time. Um, all right. Well, you wanna just send folks to like what's a good source to learn more about the pictures? BFRO website?
BFRO website, and if you
Mhm.
go there, I mean, go to the BFRO museum. I mean, not the BFR, Cliffs Museum in Boring, Oregon. My pictures are
Mhm.
there. Um, I mean, you can look up my name. It's Randee, Randee Chase, and you can try to friend me on Facebook if you want. Maybe I'll start a different one. I don't know. Like I
Okay.
said, this is all new to me. You asked me to do this, and I'm going, wow, that's awesome. I no one's ever asked me. I mean, to do an interview, so I
Well,
appreciate it. Thank you.
it's my honor. It truly is. Yeah, when I found that out, I couldn't believe it. But yeah, it's such an honor having you on today. And yeah, I hope to stay in touch with you and see all that you get into.
Thank you.
But to close out this wonderful conversation, would you like to leave my audience with any final thoughts, words of wisdom, or a piece of advice?
Get out there and enjoy the woods, and leave it like you found it. Clean up after yourself. That's it.
Awesome. Randy Chase, everybody, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
You just never know who you're going to run into while waiting in line for a chili dog. My gratitude to Randee Chase for appearing on the show. You are the coolest and the kindest for giving me the opportunity to speak with you. Listeners, learn more about the Silverstar Mountain images and Randee's experience at the direct BFRO link below. You can find him on Facebook. Also, check out his episode on Finding Bigfoot. They go on site, measure distances. Bobo stands in for the Squatch because, of course he does. It's a fun episode. It's a good one. Randee also joined me backstage for a quick chat. To enjoy this and many other exclusive guest chats that cannot be heard anywhere else, join me over on Patreon. You also get other bonus content like bloopers, announcements, shout-outs, early access, no ads ever, even free merch for my top tier. Patreon.com/ParanormGirlPod. Follow me on social at ParanormGirlPod. That also includes YouTube. Subscribe, like, click the notification bell, and share. All of these little things that you do to support the show add up in big, big ways, you guys. That will be a wrap for today. Join me next time for an all-new solo and thorough deep dive into Sasquatch sightings, encounters, and reports made by members of our military and other government officials. Gonna be an interesting one. But until then, have a great rest of your week. Stay safe, keep the nightlight on, and sleep with one eye open.